Warning.
Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
The following podcast features terrible jokes.
You know you can use Hot Wheels cars when you need to make a saving throw in D&D? Every car is die-cast.
Usually about board games.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
We had less technical issues than $1 million company.
All right!
This is Boards and Swords.
Hey out there, everyone. Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast where we feature bad jokes, good folks, and some tabletop games. I'm one of your hosts. My name's Chris Renshaw. I'm going to flip it over here and throw it over to my partner in crime down there, Mr. Philip Herbig.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this podcast that we did not have to turn around.
Yeah.
Beetle, I'm watching you.
Yeah, we just had to like pull over on the side of the road and wave somebody down to like try and get help. So, we're here though, and we're not alone. With us we have also Kit from Game Envy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing awesome. So, for those that aren't aware, what is Game Envy?
We are a painting and hobby accessory company. We invent tools to make your hobbying easier and more fun.
Tools to hold your hobby, as you might say.
Yes, yes.
All right, well, we're going to get more into that. But first, we have some news. All right. I wrote these jokes like a week ago, and I already don't want to do this for the first one I wrote. But yeah, Tiny Epic Game of Thrones is a thing.
I feel like... So hang on. So Game of Thrones. Here we go. Yeah, whatever. I feel like the Game of Thrones IP is just... You can't throw a rock in the forest without hitting something Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having cat fighting here, and it wasn't the good kind.
So I'm on the Game Envy website. You guys got any Game of Thrones stuff over there?
No.
Kit? Any like Game of Thrones branded paint handles or something? All right, so
I feel like we all know the story at this point. Do we really need to like replay it over and over again?
Hold on, one sec.
oh no, that's really morbid. Why did I go the red wedding paint palette?
That's just when you spill your paint.
Oh yeah, there you go. All right, Chris isn't here, so I'm taking over. All right, there we go. Yeah, Game of Thrones, Tiny Epic Games. So I'm a big fan of the Tiny Epic Games. Not that I've played any of them, but I've just bought a lot of them from their Kickstarters. It looks like a little decent map of Westeros. Doesn't show. It's got dice selection, multi-use cards, minis, all set up in a box that's how big are these boxes?
Like
It's about 4x6.
something like that.
4x6, 5x8, something like that. Yeah, I mean they're decently sized. But this is Tiny Epic Crimes Kingpins expansion. If the camera will focus on it.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, you were gone?
Yeah.
Oh, we're just talking tiny epic things.
On the bingo card of things that can go wrong, apparently my cat decided it wanted to have and just like straight up gnarl and attack one of the other ones.
Rusty Beetle says 2 degrees of Game of Thrones. Kit shares the same first name with Kit Harington, who plays Jon Snow, who knows nothing.
Yeah, just like me about Game of Thrones. Although that's not true. I read the first 2 or 3 books.
I watched that thing of like Samuel L. Jackson narrating the first few seasons of Game of
I
Thrones.
didn't see that.
And it was, I don't know if it's actually him, but toward the end, it's like, oh, you want the damn dragon? Fine, here's a damn dragon.
All right. So, what were we talking about again? Tiny Epic Game of Thrones. Strategy game inspired by Westeros is now live on Kickstarter. Oh, it was. Yeah, it's.
Well, it's still alive.
May
Concludes
1st.
on May 1st.
Yep, concludes on May 1st. Phil, have you backed this yet?
I have not. It's the IP.
Don't care about Game of Thrones.
Don't care about Game.
In Tiny Epic Game of Thrones, participants take on the roles of leaders from various houses in a struggle for power, influence, and survival. Players will engage in political strategies, form precarious alliance, and engage in combat with every decision impacting the broader realm. It's weird. Like I remember when they started out and the Tiny Epic games were like there was a lot, but it was like you look at this box here and you're just like that is a lot of stuff to fit in that tiny box.
Well, yeah. It comes. It also the stuff comes in like 7 boxes now.
Multiple Tiny Epic boxes.
Exactly. You got to get the satchel to carry everything now.
Right.
It's like I've been really into the mint tin games, like that.
Oh,
that fit
yeah.
in the tin.
Yes.
I just love unpacking those and seeing how they've like done that. So this is just like one step up from that.
Yeah. And then even one step down is have you seen the gum games? They're like the size of a pack of gum.
I think I just found I got like banditos or something like that. And it was like bank robbing or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was they're usually just cards, but they're like a really oblong shaped card.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Let me get back on track here. I started learning about flowers recently. It turns out a lot of topics stem from them. So, Bloom Chasers, we got another Kickstarter here. A new 3D strategy board game blossoms on Kickstarter. I think this one because this one of those that just looks cool. Like this reminds me of those like Lego flowers almost. But the artwork looks really cool. This one concludes on May 11th, so you still got plenty of time. It's already backed, even when this article was written, like 11 days ago. So it's a light strategy board game that says, oh, never mind. It's a 30-minute game that combines aesthetic appeal with engaging gameplay. So players known as Bloom Chasers. I just feel like that's one of those things like the Bloom Chasers now on the Atlantic. What?
Carry on.
Strategically place branches and buds on a 3D tree, aiming to outmaneuver their opponents and grow flowers by predicting weather patterns which influence each round of play. The game is versatile, designed for both competitive and cooperative play, which makes it suitable for a variety of players. It can be taught in under 10 minutes and is designed to be accessible to newcomers while still providing enough depth. So, oh, look, here we go. Now we got a little zoom in on this. You can totally tell this is a 3D printed prototype. I can see. I don't know if it shows up.
Oh yeah, you can see the layer lines.
Like you can see the layer lines.
But I mean, like that's good for putting out quick info.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hey, this is our prototype.
Everyone
look at.
Everyone does that. That is. There's no problem with that at all.
I mean, that's really what Kickstarter is about.
Yeah. It makes me give the question of like, have you talked to people that actually make stuff to be like, we can do that? Like, but that's just me as like a person that's been around the Kickstarter block as far as like backing things and someone's like, oh, we can't do that. We had to redo our plans.
Some features of the hobby holder are actually because of injection molding requirements that we turned into features.
I can only imagine. All right, moving on. Pepsi should partner with Yu-Gi-Oh to make a new soda and call it "It's Time to Mountain Duel." So, and the last one of the this isn't the last of the. I just realized most of the news this week is crowdfunding news. Millennium Blades is back on Kickstarter. Philip, you remember Millennium Blades? I definitely had you play the game once.
Yes, it was great because we had stacks of cash.
Yeah, that's the money in the game. It's just stacks of cash that you throw around on everything. So, have you ever heard of this game?
You had to tape together.
So, for everybody else that may not have heard it, it is a CCG simulator card game. It says it in there. So like you pretend to play a card game and then also play the card game, where you like the first half of the game is you buy booster packs, which are just single cards, because it's like the game's like there's only ever one good card in a pack anyways. So you spend like your currency in the game is like literally you take like stacks of ones and tape them together and to be like stacks of bills, and you throw them down on the board to like you're buying packs, you're trading cards. Then after you build like your deck, which I think was like 5 cards or something like that, you play the second phase, which is you do the weekly tournament and you win prizes or more cards to go in your deck, and you do that like 2 or 3 times, and then you score up points at the end of the game. So it's like it gives you all the aspects of like a CCG in a single board game.
I mean, I will say I have watched YouTube videos of people opening booster packs. So I mean, this gets your fix.
Yeah,
It does.
and
I'm reading through the Kickstarter here, man. This stuff is great. 416 cards. That's less than 2 pounds of cardboard.
yeah.
443 cards. More cards than the last expansion.
Yeah, I haven't pulled it out since the last time that the time I taught Philip how to play. So
So is it fun?
No, it's fun. The problem is it's a very niche game, so it's hard to like get somebody to play.
Yeah.
Also, it's one of those that like you need to organize it really well, because it's like you gotta go through and take out. I usually hate games like this where you have to like assemble the deck and then disassemble it, but in between games. I like it when I could just when I can take expansions and just throw them into my card pile and never separate them out again. But because you've got all these different sets, you have to like, it's like doing the rotation, like what sets are in rotation this time. And then like if you've played any CCGs, there's always like references to things. Like there's so many Yu-Gi-Oh references. And I mean, like,
I'm looking at the Kickstarter page.
yeah, like even here, like I made a Mountain Dew joke, but this guy's got like it looks like it says, it's like, it's DTN Moo, so like Downton Moo.
Yeah. Exaltius, the unbeatable.
Yep, exactly.
Specialty, winning. Why he plays? To win.
One of my favorite product placement things was, this was a while ago at Target, and on the end cap, it was like some new Madden game came out, and next to Madden, they had Doritos and Mountain Dew, and I was like, Target.
They used to do that with like whenever like a new, like back when WoW was at its like peak, and they had like the WoW Mountain Dew and stuff. Like the Halos. But anyways, so Millennium Blades is back on Kickstarter. It's been around for a long time. This campaign kind of like bundles up a bunch of expansions that they've had going around, and then providing, let's see, also featuring the campaign is a comprehensive collection of content for previous expansions, offering an easy way for players to catch up or dive deeper into the game. The upgrade pack includes deluxe material components. Ooh. Also, hi, Lunda in the chat. Nice to see you. Newbie in the chat. So, yeah, so that's great. And I'm going to go ahead and do the last part of our crowdfunding campaign on here. The newest CMON campaign will probably fund in a flash.
There's another CMON campaign?
Yep. This one's on GameFound. This is the first game that they've launched on GameFound now, so they're not on Kickstarter anymore. But they've had Marvel United forever, so now they finally got DC. And it's funny because they can't call it DC United because the soccer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that a soccer team?
Yeah,
okay.
There's
Gotcha.
a soccer team called DC United, so it's DC Heroes United. So, where is they have the link? Oh, here we go. Here's the gallery. There we go. So yeah, I mean, if you play, I know a lot. Marvel United is ridiculously popular. That it's easy to play. It's easy to play. It's also like got these adorable kind of chibi minis.
The minis on I got a second copy of Marvel United just so I could like paint the minis again.
Yeah.
And it was like $20 at the time.
Batman here looks like he's constipated. Oh my god!
Ugh. Like he always looks like that though, right?
Yeah, but it's just something with the chibi aspect makes it look more so.
Oh yeah, like super.
I have vengeance.
yeah.
I am in need
Right.
of preparation H.
I do not have throat cancer.
So yeah, it's funny because like it's a minis game that's not a minis game because really the mini is just a marker for where you are. It's really a card game. You have these
Okay.
locations on here, and you're playing cards from your hand to kind of do different actions, do different things, power ups, etc. And really, the
It's
mini,
Munchkin.
yeah, kind of. Except for, I mean, yes, but there's only ever like a handful of things. I would say it's probably closer to Power Rangers, where you have like
Okay.
the different. There's the wheel with the different locations, and you kind of can move the Rangers from location to location.
Gotcha.
The
So,
Joker, I really like the Joker mini in his base. Sorry, I talk mini stuff.
well, I mean,
that's-
that's
yeah, he's-
that's kind of what you're here for. Oh, that is cool. So it's got him on like a Jack in the Box.
That's great.
Like coins coming out. I like that.
Yeah. If only you had a way to help you paint it.
Yeah. I'm gonna come out with something.
All right. And then the last story here, before Pal World came along, there really was a Pokemonopoly on that genre. All right. Just there's going to be a Monopoly movie, and apparently, you know, the same people that were involved with the Barbie movie are involved with this. I feel like we've been hearing forever that there's going to be a Barbie movie. Like, is that just, or like a Monopoly movie? Is that just, I feel like that's been like one of those rumors that like when it dies down and there's not a new good news story, someone's like, hey, remember we're going to do that Monopoly movie? Like it used to be the D&D movie. Like it would be like, oh,
Yeah.
we're going to, here's a new tidbit about this so-and-so is going to be in the D&D movie or something like that until, you know, that actually came out.
Like Wolf on Wall Street. I feel like we already have Monopoly movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, normally I would be like, that's probably gonna suck. But like the Barbie movie was actually good, so it's like if it's the same people, like I'm intrigued. I probably won't go see it in the theaters because like I don't even really see movies I like in the like I just don't go to theaters.
I'm just
So-
trying to
Right.
figure out like what is so like this article references Battleship.
Yeah,
And to be honest, that had nothing to do with the board game other than the name.
the missiles look like pegs.
Okay, I guess we can go with that. Monopoly is a top property, pun fully intended. Like what is
The property.
what
part.
are they gonna do?
I only hope it's a meta thing where the game is like imagine Jumanji but with Monopoly.
Oh, okay.
That's
You
like-
order your landlord.
I need it to be like about the board game Monopoly, not like we're taking place in the Monopoly world. Like I need it to be like, or if they do that, it's like kids are playing Monopoly and like, was it Rich Uncle Pennybags, like sucks them into the board game.
Oh,
Like that's
all right. I see. I can see
that's-
that.
Hollywood. I'm here.
They're gonna make a bunch of money. I'm probably gonna watch it. You know,
No, I'm gonna.
I won't maybe not like it, but I'll watch
I'm
it.
gonna see it in 3-minute chunks on TikTok, or
That's
whatever
right.
whatever the next TikTok is.
That's
So,
that's actually gotten me into a lot of movies and shows. Is
Yeah.
just seeing clips. I'm like, fine, damn it, I'll watch it.
that's how I watched. That's how I watched or got watching Lucifer, as I just kept seeing clips of that.
Oh, yeah, The
So-
Martian. That was a good one.
Well, I'd already seen that before that, but You know, I'm gonna go ahead and skip a Patreon plug because this episode is not worth. This episode is not worth advertising for.
It's not reflective of
Yeah.
the our normal shenanigans.
So I'm gonna quickly change the subject, and we're gonna focus back to Kit, and I will say so. From when I was just kind of honestly when I was googling and to try and get a good picture of you for the thumbnail, I saw so the original. I'm assuming the hobby holder that was actually a design competition. Is that what I saw something about that?
So no, so I did the Kickstarter for that, and then we did for like additional funding and things like that. We did some business pitch competitions.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so everything started with the hobby holder, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And the from the hobby holder running that, coming up with new stuff, reinvesting that in the company, we launched more and more products too. The last one for the new exemplar sizes and the Lucent, our new hobby light. It's been going on 7 years now.
So how did it? I'm assuming. I mean, granted, it's probably just well, I just wanted here was a need and I decided to make it, but I'm sure you could give a little bit more
Yeah.
detail on that, how the original concept came about.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was beginning of 2017 is when I started coming up with ideas. This is before like GW had made a painting handle. The hobby holder campaign launched before that even came out. So it's sort of like the genesis of the painting handle craze. It actually is one of the reasons why we couldn't get the trademark hobby holder until recently was because it was too generic, but we've actually market distinction. We claimed market distinction, and we were able to actually get the trademark for the word hobby holder. But I digress. Back in 2017, I was painting. I started out playing D&D, sort of that's where I started painting. I was using bottle caps to hold my minis. Because holding your minis just by themselves is hard, and I didn't like doing that. And we had just we had one child at that point, which is crazy. We have 4 now. But I ended up trying to come up with other ways to hold the miniature to make it a little easier, swap them in and out, even because they were already on soda bottle caps. So I ended up cutting the top off a soda bottle and making a mold of a wine cork with the top of a soda bottle on it. And I'm always sort of like, this is sort of who I am. That's how my brain works. So I'm already doing this stuff. And then so I cast that in resin. So I had like a bunch of these little like champagne corks / soda bottle tops that I could just screw my minis onto. And that's sort of how it started. And, as I was painting with those, I was like, you know what, let's I want to figure out how to do this. So I ended up getting some sketches together and hired someone on Fiverr to do a 3D model. Didn't like at all what they did, and my previous job, I was a designer and creative director, so I'm used to like sort of like really fine tuning stuff, and I just couldn't do it. So I ended up just teaching myself how to use Fusion 360.
Nice.
If you want like a really powerful tool, I know that there's like Blender and stuff, but if you want like a mechanical modeling tool, Fusion 360 is free for hobbyists to try out, and it's really, I ended up teaching myself how to do that, and from there, making copies. My brother had gotten a 3D printer. This is back when they were crazy expensive. Which is weird. That was only like 2017. It was hard to get a 3D printer for like under $1,000, and now we're just like they're a dime a dozen, and they're really nice.
Yeah.
But so I borrowed his, and I gave him to our local game store. Some friends that I knew that painted, and talked to my family about it. Everyone in the family was like, "No one's gonna give you money for that," and I was like, "I think they will."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then fast forward to October is when we released the campaign, and I think with no lead up to it, no advertising, anything going into it, we ended up funding in 5 days or 55. It was either 5 days or 55 hours. One of the two.
Well, that's
Big difference.
not really, because I guess
Yeah.
that's what, a little over 3 days.
Yeah.
So
So
that's still pretty good for a first-time Kickstarter.
yeah, with no and this was still, I mean, this was pre the big multi-million dollar campaigns. You still had like your CMON and stuff on there, but Kingdom Death was just launching for their big
I was
their
gonna say
big
it's
second
about the same
campaign.
time as Gloomhaven, I think. 2017.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
So the
So yeah, so we just
original one.
yes, the original one. Yeah. Yeah, so and then that we ended up getting like 2,800 backers. I could look this up. You'd think I would know this by now.
It's 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what I have for breakfast today.
Yeah. I started keeping a journal this year because I was like, I don't remember anything. Yeah, and it like everyone was sort of like everyone I knew was sort of shocked. Everyone that knew about the hobby was not that shocked.
Right.
So then yeah, for that year, so we ended up, working with a company in the US, Proto Labs, to get the molds for it. And I was talking about features and things. I didn't know anything about injection molding at the time. But I actually like planned ahead and talked to the manufacturers. We had 3D models made and stuff. But like the hole in the top of the hobby holder where you can put where wine cork fits in, if you pin miniatures and stuff, that was because they were like, well, you can only have like 3 millimeters of thickness, otherwise it sinks and stuff. So we made it. I was like, all right. So I made the hole and just sized it to that size. So little things like that ended up being like the very original one screwed together, and now the stability bar can click on and off, and that was because it's really hard to do threads with the 2-part mold, which is how you can keep the price down. Like you can spend a lot of money and get a mold that goes like, but if you want to spend not as much money, you have a mold that just goes clunk.
Yeah.
An A and a B side.
Our resident fact checker, Rusty Beetle, has let you know that 2,691 backers pledged $89,000 to bring the project to life.
There we go. Thank you, Rust Beetle. And I just want to say, Rusted Beetle, the Clue movie is probably one of the top board game movies ever and will ever be created.
Will ever be. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, I had seen and I had seen the hobby holder for a while. I still don't own one, only just because I end up buying other things. I end up buying other things at the booth.
Oh yeah,
and,
all
so,
right.
and the other thing is it's if I'm gonna get it, I want to get everything, the whole get up, and so where you get the handle and the stand.
Yeah, that was our second campaign.
Right. I do like it because one of the big things, like, I don't use a handle enough because a lot of times I'm just wanting to I'm batch painting. So it's like I don't want to be on and off all the time where I'm painting just like a boot, this color. I don't want to just put them on like I'm talking specifically the GW handle that's got the slide pieces. I don't want to stick it in there, paint the boot, take it off, put the other one on. But with the hobby holder, you put them all already on bottle caps, and then it's just off and on and just
and like it was something I already was collecting, and I just had like pockets full of bottle caps. I'd save other people's bottle caps, and it's one of those things, like you said at the booth, that I'll talk to people about the whole setup, and then they'll be like, well, what's on there? And I was like, well, it's just a bottle cap, and they're like, oh, all right, I'll buy one.
Yeah.
And it's there's other handles out there now that you're like, oh, you can buy caps and they're $1 a piece or whatever, and they have their purpose, whatever. But one of the things that I have tried to, and as we've like thought of version 2s and upgrades and this and that, is the bottle cap is just, I think
that's the cornerstone.
And it's something that's inexpensive. It's recycling or upcycling, and and people are like, oh, we don't drink sodas or plastic bottles. And, it's like, all right, well, we'll sell you 10 caps for $250. It's like,
Yeah.
it's still like the
if you
cheapest thing out
need
there.
the cap,
Yeah.
it's like just
And
go.
then you're like, all right, I'll just buy them.
Just
all right.
go raid somebody's recycling bin. You'll be fine.
Yeah. And every convention I talk to people, they're, oh yeah, everyone at work just drops caps off at my desk or this and that. My wife had to tell me to stop saving caps because I just kept saving them. And she's like,
sounds about
you
right.
have a bunch of them now. And I was like, well, yeah, but that's inventory. I don't want to use those. I can get these ones for free. Coke Zero, I'm already drinking.
That's like me and how I haven't thrown away like any of the sprues of like all the Games Workshop stuff. Like none of them. I've thrown away like none of them, and they're just in boxes that are now just I'm paying U-Haul money to just store these sprues because I'm like I'm gonna reuse them. I don't want to throw. That's a lot of plastic waste. I don't want to throw. So
I've seen those things where you can like melt down the thing and make filament, or I don't know.
Yeah,
there you go.
No,
I'm helping you out.
No. There's already plans in the work. I have access to a 3D printer now, and I printed these terrain rollers so you can like gooify basically the stuff, and then you can roll out terrain on it, and then cut it for bases, and then
that's cool.
Yeah, so still working on that, but that's been like that's been a long time goal of mine. But recently though, you just finished up a Kickstarter actually for the wet palette, the exemplar wet palette, which is not even is this the first Kickstarter for the palette?
No,
so this is the second one.
Yeah, this one was to specifically launch a smaller one and a larger one, and sort of like introduce the light a little bit more to the public. That we did. Yes, the exemplar was 2 years ago, I think. 3 years ago. Man. Russell Beal, let me know. Yeah, and so it's been we've been doing really well, and we just talked to painters. I say we, it's me and my operations manager who came on at the end of the last Kickstarter. It was the end of the last exemplar Kickstarter. So it's really just that's the whole company. We have someone who helps orders too. But talking to the painters that we sponsor and work with, and on the floor at the shows, we're not designing products. I mean, I'm designing products to support my family and that, but I'm designing products that enrich the community and really the hobby community, tabletop community, and really acknowledge the needs that aren't being, looked at from the larger companies. They're just, I'll pick on GW because it's GW, but their painting handle, like, it's the cheapest product they've like ever released, and people like it, and they launched it on day 21. Quick launched on day 21 on the hobby holder campaign, which I was like, you never quick release stuff. What's going on here? But no, but that was a product that was, it was designed for their miniatures, and it was designed to, if you need to buy 10 of them if you want to batch paint stuff. And that was more of like this is a need, but let's make some money on it. The Red Grass palette, it's a great palette. It is, but it's expensive, and it's a box, and it's got some paper. It doesn't need to be that price, and it's marketed to these like the elite, and all everything in between. We're really, when I focus on a product, I'm focusing on how's it going to make my life easier as a miniature painter, as someone who wants to get things painted, to add a little atmosphere to my board games quickly. Like I said, I have 4 kids. I don't have that much time to paint anymore.
Right.
I don't have that much time to game anymore either. But all that time is put into this, and just really making it a better space. Not trying to bleed the community dry, by giving them professional quality products at a reasonable price. And it's sort of where my focus has been for this whole time, is just accessibility. And and finding those features that might be overlooked. Like the exemplar has a phone holder on the lid. Every
Yeah.
single one of us is watching our phone. You know,
If nothing
it's-
else, then for tutorials.
yeah. So it's like the lid was there. So I was like, all right, well, let's figure out a way to make this hold your phone. So I did that. So really trying to utilize every space and thing like that to enhance a product. And that's why, the success of this last Kickstarter, I put a lot of, I think those reasons are why this one did so well. This is our first time breaking $200,000 and $300,000 on a goal. And we ended up doing, I think, 324, whereas the last campaign we were $600 short of 200,000. And they're big numbers, but it's two people, and it's just really trying to just bring this stuff to life, and I'm so grateful that crowdfunding is a thing. When it's used like this, it can, I mean, it's done wonders for the board gaming community in general. But yeah, it's been really amazing, and I'm really grateful that people continue to trust us. Really,
Right.
yeah.
So
Sorry.
no, it's fine. Yeah, I started off. So the exemplar was actually the first thing I bought from y'all was because I had the Masterson's,
Yeah.
the wet palette, and it's fun. It's great. Like it is. You want to talk about a low
$11, yeah.
price? Like that's like $20, I think is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, is it 20? Yeah, I was back a while ago. It was like 11 or 12, I think.
Yeah, inflation.
Yeah.
It may be. I'm guessing, but my always problem with it is it was just too wide, and
Mhm.
so when I was trying to like carry it, it always had to be like on top of like whatever my painting thing was, and also the paper. It's really weird the way it's like a lot of work. Like I never ended up changing the paper because it's like you need to like microwave it or like microwave some water and put the paper in, or just like have it sit and activate for 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to. It's like you were saying, like I want to sit down and paint. I don't want to wait 15 minutes for the paper to
Yeah.
activate and then kind of. So
And I mean, I'll tell you why, because I've talked to Susan, who was the previous owner of Masterson before they sold. So they sold to New Wave. They do like fine art supplies. But there's a coating on the paper, and what that does is it like dissolves that coating to sort of activate it. So that's sort of what that is all about.
No,
And
I
that-
knew
and
there was
I
a
think-
reason. It's
Yeah.
just like sure.
But it's we don't need that for our for the paint that we're using. For the most part, it's not sitting in like piles like artist acrylic, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not that we're not artists.
Wonder Twin papers activate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got that. Plus, I like being able to just store the pens inside and such. But honestly, I backed the most recent Kickstarter specifically for the Go, the tiny tiny palette, because so I used to be carrying just all my stuff in like a square, the really useful boxes that a lot of people use to store their minis. I just had one that had all my paint. But I recently switched to the Monument Hobbies Go bag, the big, huge bag that pulls down and comes a whole paint station. The current exemplar fits in there, but I have to kind of like wedge it in there, and it just takes up so much space to where I was actually not using it for a while and just doing I had a cutting board that I turned it into a dry palette.
Yeah.
I only recently switched back to putting the exemplar back in there because I'm just experimenting more with wet blending and stuff, and so. But then I saw that the Kickstarter, and I was like, oh, that'd be the perfect size to just slide right in on that bottom area.
Yeah, it's Jason at Monument. He's like very much like Pro Acryl's they're like not formulated really for wet palettes. They're supposed to be able to be used by themselves, but the new paper that we just launched with the Kickstarter works really well with that. And we had talked to them about making sure the exemplar fits, and he's like, oh yeah, I checked it because he has one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it when all my favorite companies work together.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, there's this group of companies. You have Monument, you have TurboDork, you know, Creature Caster, Cuttlefish. This like nice little group of people who are innovating within the hobby at like the not $1 billion publicly traded level. And we're really, I mean, it's a great community.
And it's having impacts like Army Painter had to go back to the board and like redo their entire paint line because there's so many more like and better paints out there now that like just the whole there's the new, I forgot what it's called, the War Paints Fanatic, I think what it is.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are like raving on it, but it's like they would have never have done that 4 years ago. They didn't do that 4 years ago. It's just now between you know like you said TurboDork, Pro Acryl, you got scale 775, scale 75, the AK, I forgot what AK paints or something like that. Like there's so many like premium paints that aren't a premium price. Like all the paints I just listed are cheaper than GW paints.
Yeah,
and they're
and
usually
lots of like specialty like Huge Miniatures has a pretty nice paint line, and you know Duncan Rhodes, he does his campaigns.
Yeah, the two thin coats. Yep.
Yeah,
and they're all like somewhere in the realm of like $4 to $6, which is like the highest being, and it's like usually the GW you pay more for less. So so it's like, you know, you wouldn't have seen, and it's just now to the point that our Army Painter's like, oh crap, we gotta actually make better paints now.
and they, I mean, they did a good job. Like they did a good job. That's all I can say about that is they, because of that, we have better products. That's the whole, like, I get all like anxious when I see someone releasing in some new XYZ that might hurt our business, and my wife is like, the rising tides raises all ships. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, all right, fine. We're doing all right.
And a lot of these companies, they're like, we just want to make our thing. We're not trying to stomp out. We're not launching a product 21 days into this other person's Kickstarter on the thing. And then so the other thing that I bought this past check is I love the collapsible paint cup. Like that has changed the world for me. Like it sounds really weird, but like always having, you know, like I'd be at the store and always going to grab the paint cups they have, or making sure I had a paint cup around. But they had like, Philip, you remember those camping cups that like collapse?
Oh yeah, the ones from Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those things are great, man.
Yeah, just imagine a sturdier version of that. The one that's not gonna, like, if you touch it, collapse. Like.
Oh yeah, touch it. You look at those things funny.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, it's funny. So the first time I got, okay, now I have to find. Now I gotta find the cup, but
I feel like one year the stuff they had for the summer camp I was at, you tried to use it as a cup, and it didn't work.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the pop-up rinse cup. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it collapses down and again fits really nice in the bag. But it's funny, like the first maybe like 2 or 3 times that I used this, I only put it out about halfway because I thought, I was like, oh, that's the max as far as it goes. I'm like, wow, this is really, like, this is cool, but it's also like really not a whole lot of water. And then one time I just popped it accidentally, and I was like, it just popped an additional time, and I was like, oh, like, oh, this is just operator error here.
So much more room for activities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, some people only use it at like half clunk.
Yeah. Half step.
Yeah.
But my problem was always like when I'd fill it up, I was just always my unsteady hands. I'd feel like I was gonna like spill it everywhere.
Yeah. So we had, like, when we did the exemplar campaign, we had an original version that had a smaller base, and no one ever had a problem with it spilling, but so many people were like, "Ooh, I'm worried it's going to spill." So the new one has like a little flared base on it, and I'm like now it doesn't look like it's gonna spill. Didn't spill before, but there you go.
Yeah. And there's so many colors. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
Don't
That's another thing. I
don't forget
like
the
making
scrubbies.
colors.
I could see that.
It is the bane of my existence, and poor Derek, my operations manager existence. I think for the second hobby holder campaign when we did the ergonomic grip and the XL stability bar, and it was like you could mix and match your pieces, and it ended up being like 14,000 color combinations that we had to pick, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Rusted Beetle's making me point out that they also sell, there's a little scrubby that goes in the
Yes.
bottom that you can use for like knocking all the paint off your brushes.
Yeah, that's the magical sinking brush scrubby. People laugh. It's like it's not magic, it's just physics, it sinks. But it's cool. Yeah, there's actually a metal weight inside of it, so you just can plunk that into any cup. It sinks to the bottom, gives you extra agitation on your brush. There's other things out there, like that artists' cups have had, like coils or suction cups, this kind of stuff. And this goes back to just making it way easier.
Yep.
Just plop. It's also really fun to fidget toy. I have ADHD. My operations manager has ADHD. All my kids have it, and they're just sort of about the house. We just sort of like.
Yeah, it reminds me of there's like the because like everyone our age is having kids. There's like the green grass kind of stuff that they have for like putting like baby, like when you clean baby toys and stuff to
Yes.
put on.
Yeah.
It
to hold
reminds me
the
of,
bottles.
yeah, it reminds me of that.
Yeah, they actually, so in sort of that vein, if you take two, you can push them together really nicely, and they
Oh,
just
man.
lock together.
Now I
Yeah.
gotta get a second one apparently.
It's good stuff.
And then I think the last product we haven't talked about is the light.
Yes, the Lucent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was
this is a sexy light.
it was I was so nervous. It was the first product we launched, big product we launched without a Kickstarter. And we did pre-orders and we did great. And we had them at conventions, and I mean all the booths at Adepticon were like using them. Army Painter was using it for their booth. Creature Caster, Turbo Dork, all the other companies had it. We ended up donating 25 to the Hobby Lounge, Fort Wapple at Adepticon, so that all the painters could use them. And and then Nova has them for their classes, and it's just been basically you can adjust it completely around. So it's like the combination of having an overhead light, 2 bars, or an arc light, and just being able to really fine tune your light. And it's 95 CRI, so it's like really above and beyond what our eyes can even distinguish. So you're getting that really color accurate, and it's dimmable. Temperature is adjustable, and it's $85, which is below any other light that's out there.
Right. That was the one thing I
within that
noticed
range.
about it. Because I mean, it's not just one light; you're basically getting 4 lights
Yeah.
for this. Like we had talked about. So we had talked about this because I saw the light at PAX Unplugged, and I was like, "That's
Yes.
really cool." And I had even talked with my friend because we had started doing a bunch of painting stuff at our local store. It was like, "Oh, well, we could get like 2 or 3, like just 2 or 3." And you could just put them on one side of the table and then spread the arms so that it would reach both sides. And, you wouldn't need to buy a whole bunch of lights, and
Yeah.
just get like people in the community to like, hey, who wants to go in and on this order? And then we just keep them, of course, then the store closed. And so,
Oh.
yeah. So luckily we didn't do that, but but it is something that's still on that's on my wish list probably still of game accessories, because like I do keep everything on the go for a lot of my painting, and just being able to just pop that out. In fact, I'm pretty sure it'll fit in the go bag just fine in that back pouch, because it's huge.
It does.
It's huge. It's huge back there.
Yeah. Dave Taylor, he's paints. He's painted our booth. He's a good friend. But he carries his in his monument bag as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, and again, it goes down to this. Yeah, we're not being able, we're not making hundreds of dollars on this product, but we're making an accessible light that you don't have to fork out an arm and a leg for, but still have those professional results.
Right.
With there's the Ott light or the Nefty or the R9. You're all over $120.
Yeah.
And when you get, and those, they're good lights. But the way we went about it is using, getting the best LEDs we could, using an aluminum body and, parts that we knew about and that could be adjusted how we wanted. And we were able to really make a light that is a reasonable price that does everything you need it to do. And we have miniature photography is really good with it.
I
You
can
can like
imagine.
get 3-point lights for it. Yeah, there's so many uses for it. My dad uses it above his desk,
And then let's see, they've got the picture here where when it's all compact and folded up there. I love the fact that it's got the clamp too. That sells it for being able to just take it on the go.
Yeah. And it's one thing, as we look, I'm not talking about doing one now, but like as I look towards the future and like
What's next?
other options and upgrades. Yeah, and just maybe switching it to a spigot mount, which is the pole, so it could come with a clamp. But we did talk to a lot of people that was like, oh, I wish it had a stand. It has like 36 inches of overhang, so it is a little bit tough.
That'd be kind of hard to do.
Yeah, but just drill a hole in your desk, stick it in. I don't know. But again, this is all things that being on the ground, being the one behind the booth, listening, talking to you guys, everyone that comes by the booth, we're able to take that feedback directly. And, every convention I come back with ideas to improve or new ideas. And just listening to people and what they're needing or just being like, oh yeah, we already have that. They're like, oh, my paper sort of wrinkles. And it's like, well, first, did you follow the setup instructions? And they're like, what setup instructions?
Like I love that I love the card. That's like my favorite piece.
Is the squeegee?
Like the squeegee. Yeah, so like, you always see on other wet palettes, so you've got, so for Philip's not a painter, so he wouldn't. So the wet palette is basically so the wet palette's basically like you got a sponge that's, you just kind of damp. You don't want it like soaked. And then you've got the paper that lays on top. And a lot of times when you see all these other things is when you put the water on the paper, it'll start rising in areas or like maybe it'll curl or whatnot. And you get kind of like bubbles that form in the paper. And so they'll be like, oh, you got to like smooth it out or whatever. But like the exemplar comes with a little plastic card squeegee that you could use to like brush it across the paper. Also, I love that the instructions talk about how the paper will curl up and then it'll go back down, and then you watch it, and sure enough, that's what it does. Like you put the paper will curl up almost into like almost into a circle, and then you just sit there and wait, and then it just slowly comes back down. I'm like, this is magic.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, uh-oh, it's curling. And I was like, wait, it goes back down. All right, we're putting that in there.
Yeah. But
and the other thing, the pallet. Do you have pallet shields?
I do, but I was going to ask you about those because, especially when I'm having mine on the go, they just slide everywhere and just like slides all over the paint.
Yeah, so on the go, I just take them out.
Okay.
Yeah, but for like if you're just at your desk, yeah, they can just sit in there and they'll just stop anything funky from growing in there. Those have been. I was surprised. That was another thing. I was really surprised how popular they were. I mean, I know it was a need, and wet pallets get stinky and funky, and no matter what pallet you have, if it's really dry, you might get some curl. But those are like candy at conventions and stuff. It's pure copper with a antioxidation coating, and they just they do their thing.
Yeah. So again, explaining for those that don't understand, because you've
Yes.
got a wet, humid environment, then you get a lot of mold that'll grow in these kind of things. And what a lot of people do is they'll come up with different, like, oh, put like a little bit of vinegar in your, in your solution, or put like soap or something. But like a popular one is you put pennies on the
Mhm.
on the bottom of your palette, because the copper's natural antibacterial. So with the shields being, they're basically weights. They're
Yeah.
just, you put on. It's a paperweight, literally. They go in the four corners, and the copper helps mitigate that piece. Or you just use distilled water. That's been my
Yeah.
trick.
I still get people that are like, I use distilled water, it molds. I'm like, at some point, I mean, don't eat over your palate. I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's the
No, sorry.
I
Well,
do
I mean, but
appreciate the design here in the palette shield.
yeah,
The stamped out hole in the middle is a shield.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
Oh,
there I have. I was when I was coming up with the name. I maybe name too many things, and maybe it dilutes the Game Envy brand. But I like naming things, and I like doing logos because that's my career before this. But yeah, I try to little shields were always. I
That's-
appreciate that you appreciated it.
Philip's a sucker for the little details.
yeah, the tiny little things that it like this, because you can see it. It's a
Mhm.
design detail you can see. All right, tiny details that I get aggravated by are like Games Workshop minis, where it's got this like amazingly sculpted back of the torso that you're then going to throw something on top of.
Oh yeah,
And I
like
was
the,
like,
the
well,
there's
why?
a backpack or a cape that just covers up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you could have saved money on the tooling and not done that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, there are
The other thing
people
about
that
the
don't put the
shield.
capes on, and then they're fine.
Yeah, that's an option.
Oh, because they got their no caps.
Well, that, and just also people kit bash, you know.
Mm.
Like I've
Oh, yeah,
got
that too.
I've got a bin over here just full of bits, and that I'll just like ransack for different things, which is great because like I had a sword break, and it's like half a sword, and it was like, well, that sucks. I don't want to go digging. I was like, yes, I could go dig for one of the many swords I have in here, but when instead I just went and grabbed a head and carved it out and put the other half of the sword in the head. So he's like holding up the broken half of the sword, and the
There you
other
go.
half is like in a skull.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So, uh, for anyone that's just, so the Kickstarter's over.
Yes.
But can people still late back?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we did. So we did. We used BackerKit for pledge management and stuff like that. And right now, if you go in, you can do a reservation. It's like $1, and what it does is that guarantees you the stretch goals that we unlocked. There's some STL minis, stickers, that kind of stuff. And then as soon as the pledge manager opens, you'll be able to switch up to a pledge level. And other than just the sizes, the Go, the Pro is the current size, and then the Meg is the large one, which is also crazy big.
Yeah.
It's the largest one out there that's fully sealed and everything like that. Again, it goes back to like we were listening to people, and they were like, "Oh, this one's we want one smaller, one larger," and we're like, "Well, we tried to make a nice, perfectly sized one from the beginning, but I want to be able to meet the needs of all those needs," and the Go is really popular, and the Mega is popular. And then we worked with Turbo Dork, Ninjon, and Creature Caster to do some special editions that are available on there as well, with special artwork and stuff like that.
So when is right now? I think it's scheduled for September.
Yeah. That's when we're gonna be able to ship them. We have, so the molds for everything are done. So when we launched the campaign, we had our prototype molds done, and we just have a couple tweaks that we need to do after we worked with them. There's things like adjusting the little things that hold the lid from going inside, just making those a little larger. And then they'll be able to, we'll put in our order for production once the pledge managers filled out and we sort of have an idea of how many we need to get, they'll ship them and we'll start packing them up. Right now, we're sort of in the calm before the storm.
Right.
So I'm rearranging the warehouse area right now so that we can have every space for everything. And we're gonna get we do all the fulfillment in house, or we have. This is the first time we're gonna have for the international pledges. We're gonna have that and everything charged beforehand, and so there's not going to be extra fees on delivery, and that's going to be fulfilled within the EU and the UK. That was a big thing that we did this time that we hadn't done before. Hopefully save everyone a little bit of money. And then for the domestic backers, we're doing some of them ourselves and working with another company to help do some of those as well. Yeah.
I know nothing about the logistics of this, but I feel like you could save a lot of money on shipping and just have people pick up stuff at Nova Open.
Yeah, I could. I know at least one person who asked me, and he picked his pop-up rinse cup and stuff up. He lives in Japan, and he brought Kit Kats, all the cool Japanese flavor Kit Kats like sake
Yeah.
and some special ones. And he asked this time on the campaign if he could do that again. I was like, if you bring more Kit Kats, I will do that.
We'll ship for Kit Kats.
Yeah. Yeah, this was we've slowly sort of moved for the booth size and things like that, figuring out bringing quantity of things. We ran out of a bunch of stuff at Adepticon because I forget that in the last year, like everyone who has bought a palette or brushes wants some refills or more brushes. So yeah, it's always learning, even, going on 7 years into this, bringing it out.
All right. Well, I got one last thing for us to end the show. Is so we tried this last time and it was a hit, and I wanted something to throw together here. So our reverse eBay game is back. And so what this is I took the price. So the one version of the hobby holder is $20.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know this, but eBay has a weird stuff category. And so what I've gone on the weird stuff category, and I've looked at everything from $0 to $20, and I'm going to give you as much information I can without revealing the entire product. And you're going to try and guess what the product is and just be as crazy, and then whoever's the closest gets the points. So, which, by the way, this is done terrible for my eBay account, because I got a notice on my phone that was like, hey, Philip, you remember that mystery box of stuff? It was like, put in an offer on mystery box of stuff. I was like, no, thank you.
It might be trash.
Yeah. It was literally just a box in a dude's lap that was like $150.
Oh, the picture from the car?
Yes. Yes, that one.
Dude sitting in his car on his lunch break taking a picture of his eBay crap.
Exactly. And so the other thing I found out is when you restrict the price down to under $20, you get a lot of crude things. Because it's like all the gag gifts. Like, it's basically Spencer's out here. Like,
I mean, but Christopher, why you think the net was born?
So
there's still a Spencer's in our local mall. I was like, wow, didn't know that was still around.
Nice. So first item we have up for bid. Actually, the bidding ended. Must have been like 10 minutes after I found it, because I literally found these today, and it was like, bidding has ended, but it's been relisted. So this is $7.50. It doesn't say anything about shipping. Oh, shipping's only $5, so $5.95. So keep that in mind.
Not too heavy.
This person, it's 100% positive. They've got 1,101 ratings. So we're not talking. This isn't the guy with the box of stuff. This is a genuine product. Let me get down to the list here. Let's see. It's put a penny or dime in the slot in the front, push button, and item comes out on the bottom. Bottom opens up and refill on the top. So
Oh, is it one of those coin things that like
so your
closes
vote is
itself?
the what I'm assuming you mean like the cat where you put the coin up and the cat
Yeah,
grabs
yeah.
it. Okay. Philip, what you got? What's your pick?
I've got a one of those um right outside of the grocery store, the gumball and
Yes.
stupid 25-cent toy machines. That's my vote. Product comes out the bottom, refill up top.
I'm
That's
going to give this point to Philip actually because it is a teeny tiny vending machine with 6 cans of pop.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Only
Ah.
$7.50.
Only $7.50, and you push a button,
Is
a little
this-
tiny can pops. Apparently, this is a trend because I saw I think Ollie's had like tiny cans of like Pringles and different.
Ollie's, where books go to die.
Yeah. So you
Teeny
just
tiny vending machine with 6 cans of pop. What the heck?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was real size soda cans. Okay.
Oh yeah, I was thinking. I
price
was
makes
also
more
thinking they
sense.
were real. I mean,
No,
hell,
no, this is
we're-
a teeny tiny vending machine and teeny tiny cans of soda.
Yeah, those aren't even real sodas.
No.
It's
Does it come
disappointing.
with tiny coins?
I mean the coin slot looks like it could be real
Stellar does
size.
not accept returns.
Yeah. So
Go ahead and bid for that for me. I'll send you some paintbrushes or something. I don't want this on my account.
So if you imagine this is what the size of the coin, if the coin is actual size, that's what the cans, the cans is basically the sign of a quarter.
Oh man, that is no. I was getting like, because we're where we live is like the unofficial official home of the 10-ounce beer.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, dude,
Huh.
we get like 10-ounce sodas. That'd be great, man.
All right.
I was excited for that thing to be real.
I know. I was like, what? Yeah.
All right.
Man.
Philip, I'm going to go ahead and let you know
All
that
right,
I specifically thought of you when I got this next one.
Munchkin.
All right. No, I will tell you it's not gaming related.
Okay, well then,
It
crap.
is it's $12.99. This person's got it set up to where you can buy multiples of this item. So this is like a thing. I will say it is a gag gift of kind, but it's a practical gag gift. Like I would almost buy one of these. It's so $12.99 each, $3.79 shipping. Seller's got 477 ratings on here. Let's see. Let me scroll down. This is a great novelty, funny idea. It's got a real thing in it. This isn't fake. This is an actual gift, but it's right. So it's an item that's presented in a gag gift way. Let's say that. And so the actual item is an actual item in there. So it is technically a useful gag gift.
Gotcha.
And let's say every mechanic or technician has gone through this thing in here before. So, and it would look great on any desk or toolbox. So, Philip, I'm going to start with you. What do you think this item is?
I'm going to say it is something that can hold a 10mm socket.
I'm sorry, I can't let you say anything, Kit, because it is an emergency 10mm socket.
I was going to say a WD-40 holster. Wow.
That
Wow.
was dead on.
Practical and mechanics. And I was like, 10 mil. Okay. It's, what's it? Break in case of emergency?
Yeah, pretty
Is
much.
it? Yep, emergency 10mm. Yeah, that's.
So I might have
Amazing.
given a little too much away there.
I think you gave a little too much away there, buddy. I mean, there's a channel on Facebook, Dude Dad,
Yep.
and he made 10mm earrings for his wife,
Nice.
and there's two 10mm sockets hanging there.
All
Oh, that's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, the 10 mil damn thing's got legs.
All right, next item. So Arcella here's got
Okay,
330 reviews on there, all positive. This one's a bit weird. $5 is the bid. You can buy it now for $2,500. $2,500. Shipping is $44.19.
Okay, a little chunky.
Yeah.
That's specific.
Also, I will say, for this item, I think that shipping is way overblown. I will go ahead and say that.
Maybe that includes like insurance or something.
Probably.
No,
That's
there we go.
kind of what I was thinking. See, I pulled this bad boy. It has a factory defect that makes it look like a thing. This is your chance to own this rare and one-of-a-kind item, way better than any NFT or saving bonds. Enjoy and remember to bid super high so that you can brag to your friend about owning this. Don't worry, I will include the original packaging. I got rid of all the other ones that don't look like this thing. So, again, might have given a little bit too much, but I'll give Kit a chance this time.
The thing that it looks like, is it like a thing, or is it like that's just a generic term for something else it looks like?
No,
Not gonna answer.
I think that might be giving too much away.
Okay. I'm just gonna say a Funko Pop Jesus.
Okay. All right. That's a fair. That's pretty good. Philip, what you got?
I'm gonna go with some sort of trading card that now looks a little suspicious.
Okay. Wow. Nobody went on the food bandwagon, so I'm gonna give it to Kit on this one, but it's a goldfish that looks like Pac-Man.
Okay.
Goldfish. Okay.
So
Default.
$44 to ship that bad boy.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I know a lot about
you get
now.
the bag.
But you don't get the.
But he threw away he threw away the other goldfish.
Man,
I want the rest of the goldfish. Dude.
Yeah.
You keep the other one.
All
it
right.
doesn't even really look like Pac-Man. It looks more like a turtle.
It just looks like
Turtle
a
head.
goldfish with the fin cut off.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
Finn, did you know its name is Finn?
One last one. One last item here. Yeah, Rusty Beetle,
All right,
but it
one
doesn't
last
look
one.
like Pac-Man. Man. Again, this is another one. 375 reviews, $19.95 each. This is a packaged product. You can tell because you can buy in bulk. $19.95 for one, or you can buy 4 or more for $17.96 each. This product is so packaged that they even talk about that this is the original version of this, that there are knockoffs that you can buy, like Chinese knockoffs of this product for cheaper, but this is the genuine article here. So let me scroll down to
it's the genuine article.
This
Ride My
is-
Pony genuine article.
Yep.
Okay.
Made famous by a comedic actor. I'm not going to say just in case that gives away. It's the highest quality version of its kind on the market. There are other brands, but they are made with inferior materials that crack and break over time. Examples I can't give because that would make it away. The original, this thing, is still the best and made in the USA. They're brand new in their packaging and come with an instructional video plus 2 additional videos, one of a famous YouTube prankster. So there's a key here. It's a prank item. And then one of said famous person using it in television interviews. Use this age-old prank in elevators or anywhere, you're sure to get a laugh. And you get free shipping. So,
Free
Philip,
shipping. Oh.
what do you think? What is this prank item?
I'm going
It's
to
a pet
go.
rock, isn't it?
Yeah, Beetle thinks it's a pet rock. I'm gonna go with the hand buzzer,
Okay.
the handshake hand buzzer.
Yep, the Joker buzzer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the fart noise machine.
Ooh.
Okay. And Russell Beatles also saying fart machine. You're close. You're real
Whoopee
close.
cushion.
It's a fart bag.
Ah.
The original fart bag noisemaker, better than the pooter or the pooter tooter. America's #1 original and best fart noisemaker prank. Apparently, Leslie Nielsen did a bunch of interviews with one of and had these and would just keep using them.
Yeah, I was thrown off by the price. If it was cheaper, I would have said like a whoopee cushion. But
yeah, that's the thing. Is like if you look at the price, there are other like literally. I don't think it's on here, but I saw like other versions that were like, oh, there's one right there. Yeah, like $7.
Oh yeah,
Le tutor. But this is the original fart bag.
Man. All right.
I'm assuming it's I'm assuming you squeeze it and it makes a fart noise.
Yeah.
That would make sense, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what else it would do.
Yeah, that's all I got. But free shipping and the fart bag can be used. This old fart bag can be yours.
All right.
If you didn't say it was free shipping, I would have guessed it then. No.
All right, so there you go. Thank you, Kit, for coming on the show. Where can people stay in tuned? I think I tagged the Game Envy website in the description here. But for any other updates, where should people be staying tuned to?
At Hobby Holder on all the social things.
Awesome. Well, Philip, I'm gonna hit this button here.
And that's been our show. Once again, we want to thank Kit from Game Envy for sticking around, putting up with our shenanigans. If you like what you see and what you hear, you got to go to boardsandSwords.com/live. That's got the schedule, plus where the links for everywhere you can watch us and listen to us. Also, check out boardsandSwords.com/Patreon, patreon.com/boardsandswords. You can help support the show and give us money. We're broke. Chris has to buy a light. Chris has to buy a light for painting. Okay.
For the show. All right, we love feedback. Let us know who we need to be interviewing next. Send us feedback. Email us feedback@boardsandswords.com. You can find us on Facebook @BoardsandSwordsPod or on Instagram @BoardsandSwordsChris. If you've forgotten everything I just said, don't worry. Boardsandswords.com. It's got everything you need to know. It's even got the upcoming schedule of who we got coming out next week, literally next week, because we were off on our schedule here. Keith from Thunderworks Games is going to be here. You know, the people behind Role Player and Cartographers. They're going to be here to talk about what's going on there. So you're not going to want to miss that. But this show's been awesome. We'll be back next week, like I said, with another great show. In the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and this one was this was a lot to put on because, guys, I feel like this episode almost didn't happen.
Almost.
Yep, I always forget. I'm like waiting for the rapid drop off there at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone that joined us live. I'm going to stop the stream now, but thank you so much for joining us. And
Good night.
Good night.